Welcome to episode 62 of Star Wars and Scotch. We are back. We apologize for the slight hiatus.
It was Kevin's fault.
It was all my fault, 100%, after Thanksgiving, and then things just got too busy. And then last week we sat down to record, and I couldn't get the studio at the office working because I was alone in the office, and the way Paul has it wired is very weird.
Kevin and technology.
So here we are. I'm back at home, working from home today, and we're recording episode 62 of Star Wars and Scotch. I can't yell because my throat's bothering me a little bit like I normally do, so I'm probably going to keep it nice.
Hold on, I'll do it.
Even keel today.
Episode 62!
That was good. That was good. I like it. I like
Nailed
it. Good things to talk about, but the first thing I want to start off with is kingscoastcoffee.com. This is probably your last chance for us to talk about Kings Coast and you to be able to get it in time to give your loved ones the gift of coffee or cocoa for Christmas. The Christmas blend is gone. We sold out of it, and there are no more beans in that region coming until next year. Thanks, shipping supply chain assholes. So get it. What's left? If you need a last minute gift, the cocoa, man, that's the way to go, in my opinion. That's just me, though.
And honestly, you can't go wrong with any choice from Kings Coast Coffee. So head on over to Kings.
the DR Congo today.
I'm drinking the Christmas blends. Sorry, guys.
Oh, damn, just rub it in their faces.
Sorry, guys.
Hi, I'm Tim. I own the company, and I have Christmas blend, even though you don't. I was one of the lucky 2,200 people to get it.
This sounds really rude, Kevin, when you say it like that.
in the Michael Klump voice from The Office. Yeah. Yeah. Tim.
Yes.
Tim.
Hi.
Tim, you finally saw Batu.
I went. And I want to go again. I didn't see enough of it. I feel like I kind of because we brought the baby, and I wanted to make sure that he had a good time too. And
did any of the employees say, I would like to see the baby?
No one said that, but the girl who was playing Rey fell in love with Kyler, and she just she was walking, and Kyler was like, Rey, and she comes over and she just bends down because they have to keep the cast, the actors and actresses away from the peasants because they don't have masks on, and so they're unmasked, so they social distance, and so they keep them up on a balcony. And Rey's walking around, and she comes over and she kneels down, and Kyler goes, "Where BB-8?" And she's and she has this whole dialogue with him, and they go on for 5 minutes of just going back and forth. And I thought that was so cool. It was just it was.
Did you hear the music in your head while he was talking to do 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 do?
Well, no, because the music was already playing for me. It was perfect. It was just beautiful. And everything was so cool, and just walking into it, the transition, it felt a lot like if you've been to Universal Studios and you've gone to Diagon Alley. That transition of going from the park, the normal traditional theme park, into a new world.
That's a good comparison.
Yeah, they did a very nice job of transitioning you from Disney into Star Wars. And what's so cool is that there's no sight line that you can have in that portion of the park where you can see anything else. You're in Star Wars the entire time. They do a great job of just blocking you out. They block out all the sound from everywhere else.
Did you come in on the Toy Story side or the Muppet side?
We came in on the Muppet side.
Isn't it jarring? It's just da, 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 and then it dies down, and then all of a sudden you hear.
Yeah, but it was it kind of felt almost like going through the E.T. ride, where it was kind of it was loud, 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 and then it got quiet, and there was crickets and stuff, and then it just it kind of just slowly builds up into the crescendo of you walking into the actual marketplace. And that was what was really cool. And it's they really do a good job of easing you into it. It's not just bam, Star Wars. It's hey, welcome to Star Wars. It's a little bit, and there's a Coke stand with an astromech there, and there's a couple cast members standing there. And then you get more into it, and the population starts to get more dense, and then boom, you're in the marketplace. But it's such a nice, easy flow in that park. And what's cool is that no matter where you go, there's always something. And there's always something to appreciate. Heck, even the bathrooms were cool. I'm walking, where's the restrooms? And I look, and off to the side, there's a sign that's written in basic, but it's written in they make restroom, the actual English written out, but they make it look like it's supposed to be in Star Wars. And even going into the bathroom was cool, dude. The urinals and the toilets and the sinks all fit. It was just it felt like I was in a spaceport. It was so cool. And then you go off and you take a turn into some back alley, and there's There's old Imperial droids pinned to the wall. There's like a droid doing work in the corner. And just like the entire time, I never felt like there was a dead spot in that portion of the park. There was always something moving, making noises. There was someone doing something. I didn't feel like the cast members were a part of the world. That was the one part that I felt like they were still. I was in Disney. It was just cast members. I was hoping for more of like people who were there, but at the same time, you have to have people who are working, who are doing their jobs. So like that was like the one part where I was like really hoping I could get into the character, and like there was no opportune time to like get into a Star Wars character moment.
First of all, the comparison to Diagon Alley is perfect because when you round that corner and it's just that straight shot.
When you go around the bricks
with the dragon.
Yeah, when you go around the bricks and you get that direct line and you see the big piece. It's the same way like when you turn the corner and you see the Millennium Falcon, when you see see the edge of the cockpit and you're like, holy shit. And then you turn the corner, you're like, oh my God. It is just.
My daughter made a TikTok of us because I should sent you the picture when she saw it in July for the first time. She went around, her jaw dropped, and she made a TikTok of. She said proud dad moment. I just saw it like a few weeks ago, and it was me standing there looking at her, and she was filming herself, and you could see me looking at her. And she just like her eyes are open in her mouth, and she's turning towards the Falcon, and she used the clip from Fallen Order where it's like, trust only in the Force.
Yeah, that's what I used for the freaking lightsaber build.
But you see so many people see that for grown men older than us, and they start crying. Yeah. Because it's like, again, I'm going to say it, and I say it on purpose. Regardless of what you think about the series now, it means something to a lot of people, whether you're an old school fan, new school, whatever you may be. But to see just these grown grandfathers just rounding that corner and just start crying because it's like their childhood has come alive in front of them. It's incredible. I'm really curious. Like when you saw it for the first time, did your jaw just drop? Even though you knew it was there?
I actually recorded myself like seeing it for the first time, and I went back and watched it, and it's just I put on the biggest smile on my face because that's all because I just go wow, because like I knew you told me there's a point where you make a turn and you see it, and I started making a turn. I was like, oh, I think this is where the Millennium Falcon is. And as soon as I caught the corner of the cockpit, I knew what was in front of me, and it didn't really. We watched the making of Black Spire Outpost. We watched the behind the scenes of building the Millennium Falcon and like what went into it and all the reference pictures and stuff they had to use to bring it to life. But I didn't really take into account just the overall detail that they put into it and the appreciation for Star Wars. You go and you look at just the paneling. And as soon as I saw that, I immediately went back to episode 4 when Luke says that's just a hunk of junk. And it really is like they really made it look like a hunk of junk. Like you can tell that that Han was keeping this thing together with just duct tape and bubble gum. Because there's heat sinks. Like you go and look and like there's just like large heat sinks from machinery or from computers. There's radiator fans. There's cooling lines. Like all these things that because we use them in everyday life or you've seen them before, but they did it in such a way where like those pieces look like they fit. And that's what's so cool about Star Wars is like you go back and look at the original weapons. They're just modified World War II guns. That's all they are. Like that's all Lucas did. But it fits into the Star Wars universe so beautifully now. And so it's the same idea. Is like you go and see the Millennium Falcon for what it really is. It's just a pile of trash that Disney took together and just made into the Millennium Falcon. But that's what the Falcon is.
I really wanted to go with you and experience it for the first time, but I know you didn't get on Smuggler's Run.
I didn't.
So I'm excited to do that, and I think that I have to be there because first of all, when you go in, it's like a hangar, and there's so many details. You can tell that people who love it as much as we do made this part of the park. Yeah. For instance, you walk in and there's shipping crates and there's a sabacc game, like people abandon their sabacc game. Mm-hmm. The cards are all laid out on the shipping crate. There's like the physical credits are in the middle, like they were betting.
That's cool.
And it's just sitting there. Yeah. And if you watch 4, 5, and 6, you're probably like, whatever, it's some Star Wars card game. If you played Coda, you're like, that's sabacc. I can see the thing on the cards and you're freaking out. And then you go up and it's like to see the Millennium Falcon cockpit and to sit at the table is unlike that's oh my god.
So
oh my god.
But that was like I could have done single rider for that, but I felt like doing it with a group of people that would be far more enjoyable just because it's a video game. Like you get to play a video game in a simulator. and I think like doing with a group of people that you know would be really really fun. But to
also,
your point,
real life Hondo's in there.
Yeah, like so people were asking me like, oh, what did you think of Hondo? I was like, I didn't get to see him, but I knew he was there. So like that's just one more thing that I get to go and appreciate the next time I go. But to your point about Easter eggs and details and whatnot, I really caught that when I walked into Doc Ondar's Den of Antiquities. Just like the overall amount of just little things that only like a diehard Star Wars fan would recognize. The one big showpiece as soon as you look through the doors is the wall piece from Sidious's office. It's the War of the Sith from Episode 3. You see it like one or two times, and I don't think it's I would assume it's just a replica, but that's the first thing you see when you walk in, and then you make a left or a right turn, and it's like all these cool things that you could only find there at the park. But when you look up and you see all the things that he's hoarding above, it gets really interesting. There's a lot of really cool stuff, and I'm taking pictures, and I continue to pan across, and I'm zooming in, and like, these motherfuckers. I found a golden bust of a Gungan, which looks to be like Jar Jar Binks, and it's tipped over, and it's kind of hidden. But it's golden, and I just thought that was so funny that they put that little Easter egg in there for people. And it's for someone who hates Jar Jar Binks, I cringed, and I immediately sent that picture to Kevin. And I said, I can't believe they did this to me. But yeah, like there's a lot of details just even in there, which I wish I could have just stood in the middle and just hung out the entire day, because there's just so many things that you can't take home with you. Which was kind of frustrating. Like the big animal bus that were on the wall. Wish I could have taken one of those home. Like I could have had like a tauntaun head.
The stuffed Wampa would fit perfectly in the corner behind you.
The Wampa's not that big.
No,
he's not that big.
No. It's big, but it's not that big. It's not as big as you imagined.
Yeah, I was thinking he was going to be like 7 or 8 feet tall. He was like maybe like 6 feet max.
But yeah, that would fit perfectly, like between the bookshelf and the wall in the corner of your office. Yeah, just a stuffed Wampa.
Chad would love it.
There's so much cool stuff in there, and then on top of it, Doc Ondar, in and of itself, he's cool.
There. Yeah, he's just in there, just hanging out.
Yeah, moving around, cataloging shit.
Yep.
It's almost like if you could experience it as a child, it would be 10 times more magical. But even though you're an adult, it's like, whatever, you don't give a shit. It's just like, it's still wonderful. And you're just so happy to be there and like in Star Wars. It's pretty incredible. When I walked into the first time when we walked in, we came in through Toy Story side, and it was nighttime. Ooh. You didn't do Batu at night. So if we do go back and do Smuggler's Run, I really want you to see it at night, because the way it's just lit up at night.
The Falcon looks really cool at night.
It's so beautiful. But that's how I saw it for the first time. I came down past the droid shop, down by the First Order where Kylo's ship is, and turned left.
Yep.
And the way, like you said perfectly, the way they structured that was so it wouldn't be ruined the second you walked in.
Yeah.
Like you had to go through the twist and turning corridors to get to certain things, because they wanted you to have the wow moments as you turned and walked through.
Yep.
So I came around, I got my blue milk. That's where I had the conversation with the guy where I was like, oh, this is what Luke drinks on Octo. And the guy was like, actually. And then I walked around and the Falcon's all lit up at night. And I was just like, Danielle, I need a minute. I need a second. But it's wonderful. And then when you buy stuff, did you notice they tell you, they're like, that'll be 42 credits or 42.62 credits.
So the only thing that I purchased that day was my lightsaber for the lightsaber build, and I wasn't paying attention because I was just so nerded out by I was actually freaking out about which one to pick, and I was going back and forth. I was like, Kevin, I don't know which one I'm gonna get. I'm either gonna get I'm gonna get this one or this one. This one looks really elegant and but I really want this one. And then I made the decision to go with the one that looked like a Jedi Temple Guard hilt. I think it's
that's the one I have.
That one's defense and protection.
Protection and defense.
That one's protection and defense. And I was like, oh, this looks so elegant. And then I was like, no. So I went back under the desk. I was like, excuse me, is this a final purchase or can I make an exchange? And she's like, what do you want? I was like, can I have this one? So I got it.
Power and what's yours called?
Power and Control.
Power and Control.
Yeah. And we got the fancy little badge with it too.
Do you have your hilts? I didn't see the hilt too well.
Oh yeah, hold on. I'll get. it's if you want to see the hilt, Kevin, so we don't delay the show. It's on my Instagram. It's also on TikTok as well if you want to see it. So
I've seen most of your. Oh my gosh, you know the video your chat made you do with the lightsaber behind your back?
Yeah, don't
TikTok
you?
Trend?
Yeah, the guy was. The trap thirst one. Yeah, I'm gonna do it the dark saber next.
I saw a video this morning of an Amish guy with this ring light trying to do it, but it wasn't plugged in because he's Amish. Anyway, I'm trying to see.
It's really good. So yeah, but like, so I didn't pay attention to if they were saying the credits, but that's cool that they do that. But the lightsaber build, Kevin, since we're talking about it, was
such an experience.
So everyone's like, oh, you should have gotten a NeoPixel, you know, like that one's not it's not good quality. And it's like, no, it's not a good quality lightsaber. It really isn't. If you're going for something that if you want to get a lightsaber that really looks like a true lightsaber, then you're going to want to get a NeoPixel. But with the NeoPixel, you just open a box and you have your lightsaber. With the Disney experience, you get to go through essentially a show. You get a 20-minute experience from start to finish with an actor, with people there to like walk you through the build. And then there's lights and VO and like all this stuff where just like as a big nerd, as a big Star Wars fan, you get to have that experience of putting a kyber crystal or choosing your kyber crystal, putting it in a lightsaber hilt, putting your hilt together and turning your lightsaber on. Like it was just a cool experience. I'll probably never do it again unless Kyler wants, like if Kyler wants to do it, I'll watch him put it together because I want him to have that experience. But for me personally, I did it once and I'm good. I have those memories. My next lightsaber I'm going to buy and I'm going to open a box and have it because I want to get a NeoPixel so badly.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna get NeoPixel. Like I was like, I'm gonna build like 6 of them, but I'm in the same boat as you. Like I did it, I had my experience. I put my white crystal in it afterwards too. I really like mine. Maybe if mine was to die permanently, I'd go back in like 5, 6, 7 years and do it again for funsies. But it is an experience. And for people that get hung up on the cost, put it in this frame. The Black Series lightsabers cost just as much as the ones you get in the park. And you get an entire show out of it.
Yeah, my Darksaber was $300. And so it's like, it's good, but it's the same quality as the Disney lightsaber, and you get to go through an experience. And it's $200 plus tax.
Tim got the good teacher too.
Oh, he's so good, dude. He was so good. I really enjoyed him.
Hunter and Audrey got him. I didn't get him. I got some other dude who was not nearly as enthusiastic.
Oh, he was super fun. And like it was really cool when they pulled the kyber crystals out and he's like talking about like each color and like who they represented. And he was like, purple, like Master Windu. And he was like, and the red crystal. I was like, yes! The lights go red and he's like Darth Maul, Darth Vader, Ventress Asajj. And I was like, yes, go on. I'm almost there. So good. I was having a good time. And then someone in my TikTok video, they're like, dude, could you imagine if they gave the people who picked the red crystal like their own experience, like actually like making a kyber crystal bleed and shit? I was like, oh, they're so
yeah. I don't think they're gonna do that at Disney.
Yeah, but I need that now, Kevin. So
you must cut down, youngling.
It was weird though. A lot of people were like, so much for bleeding the kyber crystal. Like a lot of people were like, you need to be real. They were kind of grumpy that you could just pick a red kyber crystal. I'm like, they're right. They're actually right. There really shouldn't be a red kyber crystal, but there is one because they know there's a bunch of edgy Star Wars fans that want to be Sith Lords.
Like Tim.
Like me. The Jedi are evil.
And then you can go to .com. You can do what me and Audrey did. So they have blue, green, purple, and red. I did purple when I built mine because I was going to do green. And I'm like, nah, fuck it. I want to be a badass like Mace Windu. I was like, there are too many Sith in this motherfucking city. So we went to Doc Ondar's afterwards because Audrey's a huge Rey fan, and I'm a huge Ahsoka fan. So I found a white crystal, she found a yellow crystal, and we went home. And we're sitting on the kitchen table on the island in my kitchen, and all the tools are out. We have the lightsabers apart. I'm like, this I could have made content out of this. Like,
oh my god.
Had Max edit it so they were floating up in the air while I was like this. But I put the white crystal in, and then I remember lighting. I was like, hold on. And I ran into the dark by my laundry room, and I turned it on. I was like, I am Ahsoka. But it was, just the ability to change the crystals and stuff too. I agree. NeoPixel if you want like a sturdy thing and you want to go like smash them together with your buds and have a grand old time. But it is an experience that you pay for. You're not paying for the lightsaber itself. You're paying for the memory of getting to build it. And I think it's worth doing at least once. And then, you know, if you have kids and stuff, you can watch them do it. And I guarantee you Hunter was, when you know who showed up, I don't want to ruin for anyone that hasn't done it, Tim, but when you know who starts talking.
Yeah.
Hunter's like looking around the room like,
oh,
are they here or what's going on right now? This is exciting. I'm very, very excited by this. So it's incredible. You didn't build a droid either. The droid one is fun and something Kyler will have fun with.
Yep.
It's not nearly as immersive as the lightsaber build, but it's just fun.
Yeah.
I think the COVID aspect of droid building has ruined it a little bit, but it's still fun. And all the extras they try and sell you with the droid stuff are just, it's garbage.
Yeah, that's why I was just like, all I needed, I had peeked my head into the droid building facility, and I was like, I'm good, and I just walked out.
Also do an R2 unit because the BB units just do not move.
Yeah, but I've got that guy. You know, I've got my droids.
Well, I mean, the only thing is Kyler could have a little remote control and
when he's
make it follow him around.
Yeah, when he's older.
I like to scare the shit out of my dog with it.
You abuse that dog.
I don't abuse him. I love him dearly, but he needs to get over the fact that a droid lives in the house. 2 droids live in the house with us. He can do it. All I do is roll it up to him and beep, and he runs away.
Oh my god.
He's just trying to be friends with the dog. Come on, FN 2187.
Yeah. So and then I did. We did Rise of Resistance
before you got to Rise. So you came in on the Muppet side. So you walked by Rise first.
Yeah, but I didn't realize that I'd walked by Rise of the Resistance.
But because you were too probably where
I was so focused on what was in front of me. Rise of the Resistance is off to the left.
And you were looking at the A-Wing and the X-Wing.
I was. The first thing that I looked at was, I said, oh my God, that's a full-size A-Wing. And they're tiny.
They're not that big, but
little.
They are full size.
That is a full 1-to-1.
Just the comm chatter, if you listen to it, is applicable to what you're looking at. And the fact that they have like steam and stuff coming off of it. And those at night, Tim, it's so beautiful.
Even like the garage is really cool. They had a lot of ground vehicles that were there. I think one was from Rebels, if I remember correctly, that I saw in the garage. I think there was one where we saw a vehicle that I think there was a motorbike that we saw Ahsoka riding on in Rebels or in Clone Wars. That was in there. There's just a lot of little details that just like, if for like a Star Wars fan, when you're just like looking around, like you get so lost in it. I was kind of mad that they hid Poe's X-Wing in the ride, but I get it because I was looking for it. I was like, where the fuck is his X-Wing? And then walking through Rise of Resistance, I was like, oh, there it is. What's cool about his X-Wing is that it's very, very different from a typical X-Wing. It's a lot longer and it's sleeker. It definitely looks like a stealth X-Wing, like when you really look at it. And I never noticed that detail because like in Battlefront, it just looked like a black and orange X-Wing to me. But actually seeing it in real, like in person, I didn't have time to really look at it because they rush you through that part really fast. Because like BB-8's like sitting up there and they have like a dummy that's sitting inside the cockpit to make it look like Poe's ready to take off. But yeah, I was like, just even like that detail in a ship was just so cool.
So, walking through the line of Rise is awesome too.
We fast
all the props and stuff they have.
So I didn't get to experience that because I lightning laned it because I was like, I'm not waiting 160 minutes to ride this.
Are there no props?
There's no props. You walk through just a tunnel. You go around the right side of the main queue line, and then they take you through another thing, and this tunnel drops you right off before you see Rey in the hologram.
Okay.
So I walk right in, and that was probably the coolest thing that I've seen so far. A lot of rides have been in like Universal Studios and even Disney. They've been trying to get the projection of like having a hologram in front of something else, and Disney nailed it. They were able to use just like the distortion and the artifacting to their advantage and really make her hologram look like it was from Star Wars. And then also like just in the ride, just like the tech that they use just throughout it between like the holograms and like the AR, like I'm going to call that augmented reality because that's essentially what it is. So like all the AR effects that they use on top of the animatronics and then the free moving cart tech that Disney's been really working on just makes that ride just stand out from anything else I've ever been on.
So the after the briefing and after when you get on the ship, when you see Poe's thing, So the ship is interesting to me because, and spoilers if you haven't, fast forward a little bit if you haven't been on Rise of the Resistance.
Yeah, we'll give you a second.
We want to talk about it. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay.
Cool.
When you go in, I've been on it twice now.
Are you talking about the transport ship?
The transport ship.
Yes.
I've been on Rise 2 times or 3. I've been on it 3 times. Sorry.
Okay.
I've been on it 3 times. And if you look out a different window every time, it is a completely different experience.
Yep.
Because the side window is one thing, the cockpit is one thing, the rear is one thing, and they're all different.
I noticed that. But so what was cool about that is like they use multiple sections to buffer queue lines. And so they use the Ray briefing part as a way to get a buffer. They use the transport ship, which is a mini ride in and of itself. And you're actually like you're in the same tech that they use for Star Tours. That's all it is. It's just an airplane simulator that moves around and stuff. And I was surprised. I thought it was going to be like Men in Black, where they'd put you in an elevator, but you don't actually move; it just vibrates. But when this thing started to move, and they're like, "Hang on to the handrails," I'm like, "Oh shit! I actually have to hang on to something." It was like I was actually surprised that there was a mini ride inside of it.
Because it moves you to the next part of the ride. Like you said, it's delaying the queue to try and break it up.
You don't actually move anywhere. It's just literally just a.
Well, no, I think it turns because it's the same door that opens.
Yeah, it might rotate inside of it, but like it's not like if you look at like
an elevator.
It doesn't do a lot of moving other than just like pitching. And then they move you into the next room, which is you have been captured by the First Order, which is like the best, dude. Like opening the doors. And looking at a docking bay inside a First Republic Star Destroyer is just like the coolest thing, because you have
they move.
You have a battalion of First Order troopers that are there that are semi like animatronic. They move their heads and like they move their arms and stuff, and they do it like in just a subtle way. Or like, did that thing just move? It's just so impressive. There's so many of them. And then like the whole being treated as prisoners and getting moved into an interrogation cell, that like those cast members that are actually LARPing, they were killing it, dude. Like they're
having a ball.
They're having a ball because they can make fun of cast members and nobody will bat an eye. Like you are there to be abused, and they are totally down for it. They're loving it.
Audrey was smiling because she was so like happy and excited. And they lined us up on the thing, and one of the officers comes over, and she's like, "What's so funny?" And Audrey's just looking at her, and she's like trying not to laugh, and she goes, "I know. Let's tell you a joke. Are you ready?" And she goes, "Okay." And she goes, "The Resistance, ha!" And walks away.
The group that I was in, they weren't paying attention. He's like, "First door on the right." And my group kept walking out the exit. He's like, "Where do you think you're going?" And then it was like the worst escape attempt I've ever seen. And the door closes. It was so good. But like that whole thing of just like, like the escape, and you get like broken out of the escape or out of the room and moved into your carts. Like that whole flow was so neat, because it was like, it felt semi-chaotic of like this constant go, go, go to get you to the actual ride. And then just going through that ride was so neat, because you're on these free moving carts. There's no tracks. So you start off with another cart, and then that cart breaks off and goes somewhere, and our cart goes somewhere else. Going into the main room where the AT-ATs were at, I knew it was coming because I watched the whole behind the scenes, but just to see them in person and in their full scale, it is a full 1-to-1 AT-AT. And that was just so impressive to see. And like getting moved up on a lift to be at like eye level with the cockpit was just so intimidating, because the head is massive. And watching the turbo guns come down, it was just, everything about it was everything that I've loved about just Star Wars mechanical engineering, because it's so interesting to me. And you just get to experience all of that, and moving throughout the ship and going up to the bridge. Like that was kind of cheesy. I will say the end of the ride is probably anticlimactic for me. Like this whole getting chased by Kylo Ren, at the end he gets sucked out into space. I was just kind of like, aw, like I was really hoping for some just like epic finish, and it wasn't as intense as I was hoping it to be. That was probably the only negative that I will give that ride is the ending.
When the door shut on us, I don't think it was this time. I think it was the first time I went. The guy was like, "See you later," and as it's shutting, goes, "Probably not." Walks away.
So there's two different experiences that you get. I would assume. I mean, like at the end, it all culminates to the end of Kylo Ren getting sucked out the out of the ship. But at some point, I noticed that a cart goes one way and it goes out, and then the other cart that I was in, you actually end up seeing John Boyega animatronically, but he's there as FN2187. And then you ride up on this elevator, and then you're looking at the AT-AT as its cannons come down. Where does that other cart go?
It stays on the bottom and goes down and around.
Does it come back, and then does it also go up?
No, it does not go. It goes up in a different part of the ride.
Oh, so what happens when that cart goes up?
It's not much different in the sense of like what happens. It's just what you see and how you get around the ride.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So my cart got shot at by an AT-AT.
Yeah, I've been on that one. I've been on both of them.
So what happens to the other one?
It goes up and around, and it goes up in another elevator, and AT-AT doesn't shoot at you. You go past the AT-AT as it's shooting, kind of. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I think you go behind the people that are up getting shot at, and I think as you're going, the AT-AT's firing at you.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, like it was just so neat because like you see the cockpit and you're like, oh, that's not good. And then you see the First Order troopers that are in there and you're like, that's really not good. And then the turbo lasers come down and like it shoots and they do some really cool light effects. And then they're using this AR tech that they've learned how to do like paint reactive stuff with light. And so that's why it actually looks like there's like the blasters actually hit the surface and then like make the singe marks. They're doing some really cool tech there.
The only thing I was hoping for was that Hux was the one that gets you out, and he, I'm the spy.
I'm the spy.
Aside from that, I think it's fun.
It's such a cool ride, man.
Hunter was freaked out the first time because he legit thought we were in space. Like, Daddy,
well, I mean, like I was his age when the first time I rode Spider-Man in Universal Studios. I swore that we were going up into the air when Doc Ock hits you with the adinversion cannon and you're flying in the air and over Manhattan. I thought just because of like the air blowing at you and the way that they turned all the buildings 90 in the room, but to you it looks like you're going backwards. And I was like 9, and so yeah, I actually thought that was a Tower of Terror drop.
Yep, it's amazing, and that's what I mean. Like. It's more magical for kids.
It really is. And someone was like, man, I wonder what was going through Kyler's head when you guys were taking that picture of Millennium Falcon. I was like, I'm sure he saw something completely different. Like what he was looking at in his mind was probably something so cool and magical. Because he doesn't know really Star Wars. He knows what a lightsaber is and he knows about the Force, but like that's it.
They're gonna grow up with this. Like this is gonna be their norm for Disney. For Tim and I, and you all listening, this is so special because we didn't have this.
Yeah.
So in to kind of put a bow on it, because you're going to go back and there's more stuff you have to see. But I think this is the future of how larger IPs will work with parks like Disney and Universal.
Like we're seeing with like Nintendo.
And what we see with the Marvel stuff in LA. I mean, we haven't been there, but everything I see is it's very similar in the experience where they cut you off from the rest of the park and you are in the Marvel universe with the characters around and whatnot. So, it gives me hope because I know years ago there was it was on the table at Universal that they wanted to do a Lord of the Rings area. And I'm hoping with the revival of the show that now the Universal will consider a Lord of the Rings area. Could you imagine like walking out and you're in like Minas Tirith or Edoras or something? I poop my hand. Do a minecart Belrog ride, like where you go by, kind of like in Gringotts. Have you done Gringotts?
Yeah.
When you go by the dragon, like do that, like with the Belrog and Gandalf say, I don't know, but I think larger IPs are going to get more experiences like this, where it's fully immersive. You go in. One thing before we jump to Eclipse, Galactic Star Cruiser is getting ripped the fuck apart online.
Really?
Yeah, and it's no one that's experienced it, so that's why I'm hesitant. I stopped calling. I'm waiting because I want to see these first few batches of people that go in at this point. Because what happened was a lot of people booked, paid the down payment, and then just got their refund when it came down. So spots opened up for the first month. If you really do want to go. I am of the mind at this point, I want to see what other people are saying. We're not first in line. If we were first in line, hell yeah, I'd be there in a second. But now I want to know. I want to know what other people are going to say when they get off. So We'll probably go. I'm guessing fall, winter next year. Me, Tim, and Ben will go, and we'll do the experience. And I don't know. I'm curious too, Tim, if it's the same as the lightsaber. Like you do it once and you're done.
I think that's what it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a one and done.
Yeah. So maybe you'll bring Kyler when he's older. I'll bring Audrey and Hunter. But we'll see. But yeah, it's interesting. People are really going in on, and I don't know if this is one of those internet, let's shit on something fun because it doesn't look like the thing that I wanted it to be, or if it's legitimate, but we'll know in March when people start going. So it's been interesting to see. So last night was the Game Awards. I was asleep during the Game Awards, so I'm still catching up, and Tim clued me into Star Wars Eclipse.
Dude, I watched this live and this is dope. I was just lost for words the entire time.
This was the rumor that we talked about a few weeks ago that Quantic Dream was making a Star Wars game.
Yeah.
And oh boy, are they making a Star Wars game.
Holy shit, they're making a Star Wars game.
This trailer is fully cinematic.
Yeah.
Now, with other games, you look at a trailer and you're like, if it doesn't say this is actual gameplay footage, you go, I wonder what it's actually going to be. This is a Quantic Dream game. Which is essentially you playing a movie. So this is what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
We have zero fucking clue what the plot is.
No. So all we know is that it's based in the High Republic era, but a lot of visual clues are definitely making me lean towards that this is gonna be right around the time that we see it's not they call the occult, the Acolyte. It'll be right around the same time as Acolyte, and the reason why I say that is I don't think we're gonna see the Drang gear.
Is that Naboo?
So there's one planet that definitely looks Naboo-esque. But the reason why I say this is because there's no hint at the Nihil. There's no showing of Nihil in this. There's also no Drang gear. And so I think the stuff that we're reading right now in the books and the comics for High Republic is definitely farther in the past than where this is taking place. This is definitely closer to the beginning of beginning of episode 1. With the Trade Federation putting their blockades up around Naboo. The reason why I say that is because this trailer is very Trade Federation heavy, extremely Trade Federation heavy. They show a lot of ships and types of alien that we've seen before. We saw a droid that I thought for a second was C-3PO, but it's a protocol droid with no armor on. The Jedi lightsabers definitely look more modern to what we know.
Can I go out on my limb? And completely theory craft based on barely any knowledge.
Yeah, sure. I just would like to say that, as far as we know with these trailers, with this trailer, there are alien races that we've never seen before. At the end, there is this drum ceremony that finishes, and this being comes out of this black tar pit. So I think this is going to be definitely very heavy in occult, like the Sith dark magic stuff that you guys know that I love. This looks some type of resurrection ceremony or some type of power ceremony where he was going through some type of force rebirth.
So you said I'm super Nihil? Excited. I think I found Nihil in it.
So are you talking about the people who are walking through the streets?
No, when the two Jedi have their lightsabers out, there's a bunch of people across from them that could be Nihil. I'm not gonna say they are. They could be.
I don't think that's Nihil.
At 1:33 in the trailer.
I'm looking at it right now. I know it's when the yellow and blue lightsabers cross. Yeah. I don't think those are Nihil. I think that's going to be a completely different. We have to remember the High Republic spans in time hundreds of years, and the part that we're dealing with in the books and the comics with Starlight Beacon and and the Nihil and the Drang gear is at the peak of that, and then we go off from that after we know Starlight Beacon blows up and everything, but the High Republic continues, and then Acolyte is the end of it, and that's why I think that there's going to be it's got to be a 200-year gap, right? Is it about 200 years because it's Yoda at that point 400 years old or 600 years old or something.
And did you say he's in the trailer? I just wanted to point that out.
So if you go to the, where is it? It is,
I'll find it.
The 1 minute and 5 second mark. Three second mark. Yoda standing in the Jedi Council. And this scene is straight out of Clone Wars. Like it's like right out of episode 2, and it's like Yoda's standing in there and he's like contemplating the future of the Jedi Order, and he knows it's coming to an end. And so like that scene, that Coruscant shot is very familiar to us. And again, that's why seeing all the Trade Federation, seeing the style of fighters too, Kevin, these fighters are very, very different from what we know in the High Republic books right now currently. So ships have changed. The lightsaber tech is different. So that's why I truly think that this is a couple years before episode 1. Like I'm thinking like 10 years before episode 1.
So I'm inclined to agree with you. I think it's going to tie into Acolyte somehow. I don't think the Nihil and the Drengir are gone, and here's why.
Okay.
Because in a Quantic Dream game, which you played all of them recently, and in Telltale, because Quantic Dream pulls a lot from Telltale, especially like Batman and Guardians. I don't know if you played those Telltale games, but they like to include everybody. Like by the time you're done with the second Batman game, I would say most of the popular villains have made one appearance or another. So I don't think it's too far-fetched to say that they'll make an appearance. They may not be the focus, which I don't think they are, because these dudes that are playing the drums, they look like they're from Avatar, because they finally face you at the end. They're summoning something, and whatever that something is comes out at the end, and that something is definitely some sort of dark side mysticism. We don't know why. We don't know how. I'm kind of happy they didn't give us much to the story and just showed us visuals, because it really sets a tone. And one thing that everyone wants out of Star Wars games is the ability to explore and the ability to experience. It's such a vast, beautiful universe that all we want is to have the story take place, over the breadth. And what they did in this trailer was show that off. Show off the aliens, show off the locations you're probably going to end up going to, show off some of the characters. Like the easy Easter egg with the High Republic is to just be like, Yoda's in it, and then move on.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we can associate with that. Everything else is kind of new to us. And that's what I like.
Yeah, I think the one thing that we have to remember and keep in mind is that the stuff that we know right now with the books and the comics is still very niche. And I think that's why they're picking the time period that they are, because it ties in very, very well into episode 1 or into the movies and into the shows. Like, so people can connect those dots a lot easier than trying to connect it through a comic book or through a book. So if people are like, I want to see Drain, or I wish it was more like based on the books and stuff, I think we're going to get there. It's going to take longer for that side of the High Republic to get to where it needs to be, to like where this Quantic game and like to where Acolyte and stuff is taking part. So
I'll say this: the species, and I just noticed this: the species of alien that's playing the drums is the same species of the soldiers at around 135.
Yeah, I noticed that, and so I'm trying to figure out if they are run by the Trade Federation, if they are another race.
This could tell the story of like, because
there's a lot of unknowns. There's most definitely a lot of unknowns. We have no idea. Like, at least for me personally, if you, like, I'm sure it's explained somewhere in a book or in a comic. But as far as like the Trade Federation like coming to power and like how they were able to subdue like so many different planets, I think this will show.
They're laying the groundwork in High Republic now, because everyone's like, oh, the Republic, with that whole hoity-toity Jedi. Oh, I see how. Oh, look, the Jedi here. There's a lot of people that can't stand it. There's the one senator in the books, I forget his name, who is trying to start the Republic Defense Force. That one.
Yep.
Who's constantly trying to like override Chancellor So. He seems like the beginning of the Trade Federation with the, like the Republic needs a standing army. The Republic needs this. And he's not getting favor within the Senate. He seems like the seed that's going to be planted to, secede from the Republic.
Yeah. And then we start seeing separatist movements.
And again, I'm ignorant of lore here. So if there is lore, feel free to tweet at us, Star Wars Scotch on Twitter. But I'm curious, Tim, if there's some sort of war that actually leads to the separation, not necessarily the war we see in the Clone Wars, but something that like actually is like almost a civil war of separation from the Republic.
Yeah, I mean, like that army that is marching towards the camera is massive. They have large droids, or large mechs. They've got a massive amount of people at their disposal, it looks like. So yeah, there's definitely going to be a big war. There's going to be a huge battle. I am very curious to see where the Republic comes up with their ability to fight this force, or like how these are, like, are these guys good? Are these people bad? Maybe, Kevin, this could be maybe that army, why we don't even know like who they are, because maybe this is in the unknown region. Like this could be out in the chaos for all we know.
I mean, maybe this is the catalyst that has Palpatine convincing what's his face? Oh my God. Christopher Lee.
Oh yeah, Count Dooku.
Maybe this is the way Duke, like, we have to have an army. We don't have an army. You see how, defenseless the Republic is.
I mean, maybe that's maybe this is why Tyrannus and Sifo Dyas. Oh, maybe this is what. Maybe this is why Sifo Dyas made the clones.
I mean, this could be that. This could be that. This could be. We could meet if it's that close. We could meet Palpatine in this, and possibly his master.
Oh,
because like you said, it's not too far off.
I mean, if we saw a Plagueis and a Sidious, that would be very, very interesting.
Like maybe Plagueis or Sidious is influencing whatever this culture is to bring forth this dark.
No, I don't think so. I think it's darker than that. I think this is gonna be like.
I hope so.
This is gonna be like dark ancient shit.
Oh, like I
think we're gonna. I think this is gonna be like. Yeah, I think this is gonna be like Zepho level, like ancient shit.
Okay.
Because Sith don't do this. The drums. And this pool, and this tar.
The ancient Sith did.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying it. Like your normal rule of two does not apply here. This is something completely different. This is not your normal standard Sith. This is old dark shit. I'm excited for it.
Oh man, does that mean we finally get to go to Korriban again in a video game?
I think no, but that's why I think this could be out in the chaos.
I was reading something the other day, and they said, with the canonization of Korriban through now multiple mediums, there's Dark Lords buried in the Valley of the Dark Lords that they haven't necessarily made canon.
Mm-hmm.
So the question becomes, if Korriban, whatever the hell you want to call it, because both are canon, is canon, and the Valley of the Dark Lords, where Yoda walks in Clone Wars, is canon, does that make all the Dark Lords that are buried there in the games that you can encounter
only
canon?
If they mention those names?
Because Bane is technically not buried there.
Well, I mean, he is now.
And like you said, well, no, you're the one who said that that was the Wills. That wasn't necessarily Bane's spirit.
No, but his body was there, though. There was bones.
Right. I was watching this whole Sith thing, and they were talking about like Darth Vendetto, who was canonized in Rise of Skywalker with Revan. So I don't know. I got questions, and
sure, but that's the joy of this.
Korriban's one of those places I want to go back to, and I know we're going to get to go back to it in Old Republic Remake, but we don't know if the Old Republic Remake is canon. So it's million questions. Not that you can't enjoy it.
It has to be. It's got a Lucasfilm. It's got a LucasArts stamp on it. If it's the Old Republic Remake, it's going to be canon.
I hope so.
It has to be. They even said everything that's being made. Once they got rid of everything going forward that had the stamp of approval was considered canon.
So I got a question for you then, and we'll end it here. Is this Disney had a plan when they bought this? We did not accept like how they wanted to do it, because they wanted to copy and paste Marvel, and that didn't work. Do you think, and we've said this before, do you think now this is the age of fan service and reintroducing characters into their version of the canon? Like, is that the next 10 years?
Yeah, I think it's going to be. It's just fixing the timeline.
Did you see who just got added to the mobile game?
No.
Mara Jade just got added to the mobile game.
Oh, that's why people were tweeting about that.
Yes. So is this the age where they're like, Revan's back, Malik's back, Mara Jade, we're going to bring her into the canon, and she's not going to be the same character that you knew, because they already technically can't do that.
Yeah, because she's essentially Black Widow with the lightsaber.
No, it's not even that. It's just the way they told 7, 8, and 9 like completely defeats like
sure.
can't be dead. But there could be flashbacks to Luke knowing her during his time at the temple and afterwards, et cetera, et cetera. So with all of that, is this the age of now, like, we're going to bring back this cool stuff? And then the High Republic is where they can kind of maybe take a lot of the ideas that they maybe had for what they wanted Star Wars to be, because it's the uncharted territory. No one can ever say it's not canon because there was never anything there that we knew of. We just knew Yoda existed. So do you think that this is now the age of fan service? Is that what we're entering?
I think what we're entering is the fixing and figuring out how to make all of the character. Like, I think they want to keep as much of the old stuff as possible, the stuff that people love, you know, like Thrawn and Revan and Darth Malak, and like all of like the cool, like even finding ways of bringing old characters back in a fun way. And so, yeah, I think this is going to be a timeline correction. I think they, like, when we said that they had to get rid of everything and then they started approving things going forward, I think they just needed a clean slate. And I think that they always wanted to hold on to that because that's still an essence of Star Wars. You go to any of the conventions, any Star Wars convention, you're going to see people who are cosplaying some of their favorite characters you've never seen before, but you would only know if you read in a book or saw in a comic. You know, it's like that at Celebration all the time. And so, yes, I think what we're going to see for the next couple of years is them just course correcting and bringing back in all those beloved characters.
I mean, like, Zizor from, what game was that? I can't remember. Shadows of the Empire.
Yep.
Alex just posted the picture of the figure.
I had that figurine.
I was like, oh my God.
I
haven't even thought about him in years. And then I go and look on Wikipedia and he has a whole canon entry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's Shadows of the Empire.
Yeah, so it's just, there's a lot of things there that I'm curious.
And now that what they're doing with Darth Vader and they're turning him into this vigilante now, I mean, like, the whole idea of like Starkiller coming back, like, could be a real thing.
Oh, 100% with the way they're angling, like, because even in Legends, Vader did not like Palpatine.
No,
like,
he knew he was manipulated.
Yeah, he knew he was manipulated, and he thinks exactly what he says on the platform on Mustafar to Obi-Wan. My new empire. He's like, I can do it better. Yep. I can make the universe a good place. At the end of the day, think what you want about Darth Vader, but his whole goal is to make the universe better. But he completely fails at it over and over again because he's not tapping into, quote unquote, the right side of the Force, end quote. I'm saying that ambiguously. But yeah, the way they're changing Vader could 100% lead to a new version of Starkiller. You know, he already had another apprentice. You were showing me Darth Momin.
Yeah, that guy's
and apparently
intense.
Darth Momin's twisted AF.
Darth Momin is scary.
So, you know, I'm very interested to see how Book of Boba Fett plays out and see who gets introduced there, because I have a feeling there's surprises in there. The same way season 2 of Mandalorian, like, we got the Dark Troopers, the Darksaber, all of that stuff. Well, we saw the Darksaber at the end of season 1, but I'm curious.
But Darth Momin's a bounty hunter, so we could see him in.
And he's a Darth too?
Yeah, it could be really interesting.
That completely violates the rule of 2, but Vader didn't give a shit about the rule of 2.
Wasn't he a bounty hunter? Or no, there was one person that was a Sith that was a bounty hunter. I was reading about him. Was it Momin? Anyways.
Yeah, but I mean,
we'll figure it out.
We know Vader didn't give a shit about the rule of 2 anyway. So
no. I mean, at one point he was trying to make a droid empire. He was trying to make a droid army.
Yeah, I saw
and
that.
they talk about that in Dr. Afra's book.
Well, Tim and I will be back next week, and then we are off Christmas week. So the week leading into Christmas, there will be no show on the 24th. We're back the following week. Stay tuned to social media at Star Wars Scotch, because Tim and I are going to record that episode right after we watch Book of Boba Fett. And then that one might hit earlier than they normally do. So please just stay tuned on social media for that one, because that one's probably going to hit earlier that week, because we're going to want to get that reaction out as quickly as we can. But we'll be here next week. We are not here the week of Christmas. So,
all right.
Yeah, well, it's like the Jonah Hill in Superman. Fuck me, right? I want to spend Christmas with my family. So we will see you next week. Make sure you check out Tim, fb.gg/darkness429 and darkness429 everywhere on the internet, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern. fb.gg/darkness429. You can check out everything I do at raredrop.co. If you want to tweet at me, it's KevinXVision, KMagic101 on Instagram. Thank you so much. I am working a half day because I am going to Disney today. Not going to Star Wars, but I'm going to Disney today to just chill for a few days and have some drinks. But it's been real. And Tim,
yes, sir.
Take him out.
May the force be with you.
Always.